Greetings, this is Salam with another demonstration video of the GReasy Graphics Library. In this video I'm going to demonstrate how color masking works with sprites, and also we'll demonstrate the page flipping feature. So first of all, I'm going to pull up some artwork that I've already prepared for the demo. And it's just a really simple graphic of some balloons, and then over here we have a crosshairs, anticipating like a target type of game. So I'm going to go ahead and grab this crosshairs into a sprite. I'm going to create a sprite out of it. So I'm going to select the area, and as we can see, there's going to be a lot of empty space both inside the circle and on the outside. But that's not going to be a problem. It's going to be eliminated with the sprite masking. So that's been converted to a sprite. There it is. And now this is the actual sprite as it's being drawn. We can fill the background with color. I could cycle through different colors. You can see how it's working very well to basically fill in all the blank spots. And so let's go ahead and save this sprite, and we'll call it crosshairs. Alright, and then we'll drop to basic. And then let me just show you how we can draw that. So first of all, let's load that sprite because it's not in memory right now. So gotta get it loaded in. And the frames are already in memory, so we can just go right into the graphics screen. And we can use our recall command to load that balloon frame right there. And then now we have our sprite in memory, our crosshairs, and the color mask is already set by default to 0, but if we want to set the color mask, we use the ampersand color command. And so that's how we set the color mask. And so this is telling the graphics engine that whenever it encounters a pixel that has a value of 0 in the sprite, to just ignore it. And so that's how we achieve the masking. So now when we draw this crosshairs onto the screen, it's going to draw exactly over everything without clobbering any of the graphics around it. And then, of course, using the restore command, we can undraw it. And then let's quickly change the color mask here to 15, which is white, which will be, of course, the color of the actual crosshairs. And now when we draw it, we get an interesting inverted effect, because now what it's doing is it's only ignoring all the pixels that have a value of 15 or white. And so we can, of course, undraw that as well. Change the color mask back to 0, and it goes back to what we expect. So now I've prepared a fun little demo just to demonstrate all that kind of put together. And so here's the crosshairs being moved around the screen with color masking in effect, using the joystick for input. And so it, as you can see, it works pretty well. The sprite for that size sprite. Now remember, that's basically like a 16 by 16 size sprite, something around that. So it's moving a little bit of memory, and you can see the flicker. And so we can eliminate that though. And it's actually pretty easy. So what we can do is we can drop to basic, and we will go, let's see, show you the part where it's actually plotting. You see at line 100 there, we're drawing the sprite. At line 130, that's where we're reading the joystick, and setting the center of the crosshairs appropriately. And then down at line 150, that's where we're undrawing it, and then we start over again at line 100, draw it at the new location, and do it all over again just in one big loop. So what we want to do though is let's change it so that when we're drawing the sprite, it's on the hidden display, on the hidden screen, hidden page. And we can select which page we want to either display or draw to, or both, using the ampersand screen command. So for example, if we are in graphics mode, we can jump to screen the alternate page, screen 1, using screen 1, and jump back to our main page using screen 0. So if we want to turn this or convert this program to use page flickering, or I'm sorry, to use page flipping to eliminate the flicker, let's first of all change this to a go sub 200, and at 200 we're going to write just a few commands here. First of all, we're going to use this, we're going to say p equals not p. Now p, of course, when the program first starts, it's going to be initialized to 0, which is what we want, because p is going to represent the page that we're going to be drawing to or activating. Okay, so right here, this is going to be to toggle the page. Now we're going to use our screen command. Now one nice thing about the screen command is we can set the page to which we want to draw but not necessarily display. And so to do that, we say we add 128 to the page value. So whatever the page is that we're at right now, we're going to add 128 to it. And now what this is going to do is it's only going to set the page active for drawing and nothing else. Now, at this point, because now I have to explain one thing really quick. In this version, when you're using page flipping, the undraw command or restore doesn't work as expected any longer, and the explanation is a little bit outside the scope of this video, so I'll skip it. But just suffice it to say that we can't use the undraw command in this mode, and so. But what we can do is we can simply redraw the entire background frame, which is fine because in this case it's hidden and it's also really fast. It happens in literally the blink of an eye or less. So we'll just go ahead and recall the balloon frame. And so this is of course happening on the hidden page. This is not going to be seen until we flip to that page. Next we'll draw the crosshairs at the new location. And then the last thing we need to do is make this page visible now. So all the drawing is done. Now let's switch to it. So we're going to use the screen command again, except instead of adding 128 to it, we're just going to pass the value as it is. It's either going to be 0 or 1, and then that way it will display the page. And then our return. And that's it. And so then now back to our main loop over here, we of course have to delete 150 because we don't need to undraw Sprite anymore. And we have our code to actually flip the page. So now I'm going to run this, except I can't run this version because it's still in the normal range of memory for basic programs, starting at location 800 hex or 2488 decimal. So if we run the program right now, it's going to override itself and clobber itself. So I've already, of course, prepared a version for this to demonstrate page flipping without the flickering. And so here it is. And so this is actually now doing the same thing as you saw in the first version, except it's flipping back and forth to each graphics page before drawing. And so let me show you. Here's again the loop. It's exactly what we just looked at. Here's our drawing part. And then I'm going to 80 column mode for this. You can see here at the top of the page, this is how we relocate the program. Pretty standard technique. Just change the start of program pointer and then rerun the program. And then line 50 is a special little code that I'm using to clear the window on both pages. And then as you can see in line 60, we're setting the color mask, etc. And so the last thing I want to show you to demonstrate the color masking is this one last demonstration. So I have to reset our pointers. You have a little program to do that. We're going to go back into our sprite editor, and I've prepared another frame set here. So it's just this simple 4-color palette, and I'm going to use this now to demonstrate more of the masking. So drop back to basic, and we'll run this third program, which is an adaptation of the other program that we just saw, except instead of the crosshairs, we have our color palette window, as it were. So you can see at the bottom of the screen, we have our color mask set to black as the default. And so now I'm going to cycle through it. We'll first mask out the red. So now the color mask is red, and as you can see, the what was formerly masked out, which is the black, is now a frame, and the red pane of that window, as it were, is now transparent. And so we can see entirely through it as we're moving our sprite around on the screen. I'll cycle to green. Same thing. Now green pane is transparent. And cycle to our blue pane and our yellow pane, and then back to our default of black again. So it's certainly fast enough for games, for demos, for all kinds of whatever you can come up with. And this is in BASIC. Of course, you can also call it in from machine language, and it'll be even faster. So that is it for this demonstration. I hope you enjoyed it.